Just an update on the situation in Ukraine right now. The war in month number 8 on Friday. Russia officially annexed 15% of all Ukrainian territory. On this map, it's shaded in red in the eastern part of the country. This is now Russian territory, according to Vladimir Putin. Imagine that. Ukrainians living in this part of Ukraine woke up on Saturday morning Russian citizens. This as the fighting continues in that region. The Ukrainians are not going to give up this territory. Heavy fighting in all the areas shaded in green there. If you look at this close-up version of the south here, this shows Crimea, which was annexed officially in 2014. The fighting continues there as well. For more on the war in Ukraine, day number 223 right now, I want to welcome in our next guest, retired Air Force Brigadier General Blaine Holt, and author of The Coming Collapse of China, Gordon Chang, with us. I want to talk for a moment, Gordon, just about what we saw play out in Japan overnight. We have the soundbite of those sirens sounding. Imagine being a Japanese citizen waking up to these. They sound like air raid sirens from the Second World War, or maybe sirens you'd hear in the Midwest when a tornado is approaching. But Kim Jong-un firing the first missile over Japan for the first time in 5 years. You got to go back to 2017. Gordon, why is he doing this now? What do you make of the timing?
The important thing here is that this is the 23rd test of a missile this year for North Korea. And I think really what they're getting to the point is that they want to validate their designs. They had the moratorium during the Trump era, but they were working on their designs. Now they need to actually prove them. And also they want to get the attention of the Biden administration and the world. So clearly, you know, this Hwasong 12 test, intermediate range ballistic missile, was important for them. And I think we are probably going to see longer range tests in the not too distant future, because they haven't tested Hwasong 15 in a very long time. I think going back to 2017.
Yeah, we know the economy in North Korea is terrible. COVID hit North Korea especially hard. They want sanctions relief, General, which could be justification here. But if you think back to the good old days, 2017 through 2019, North Korea suspended all of their missile tests. Could there be possible coordination between Kim Jong-un in North Korea and Vladimir Putin in Russia?
Well, there's absolutely coordination amongst these states. If you take the big four, Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, I felt it was kind of interesting that a State Department assistant secretary said, oh, we've got to double down on getting Russia and China to keep up their obligations of sanctions against North Korea. There's no chance that that's going to happen. They're all working together because they have a common foe, and that's us.
Gordon, can you talk about how seriously Japan takes launches like this over their territory?
Well, they do. You know, this missile was 600 miles in the sky when it passed over Japan. So it really was no threat to the Japanese people. But Japan has always focused on North Korea. And I think the United States would be in much better position if we followed Japan's recommendations on what to do with the North. We've always tried to have this accommodative relationship, trying to work with the Kim regime. I think that that's not possible because of the nature of it. It's the most militaristic regime on earth. Clearly, they need an enemy. That's us. And that's going to continue for a very long time. I think we need to give up our illusions, as the Japanese have, on North Korea.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it as this sort of global destabilization continues. General, I want to go back to Ukraine now. Former CIA Director David Petraeus, another general, outlined how the U.S. would respond to the use of tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine if Vladimir Putin does decide to use them. Take a listen.
We would respond by leading a NATO, a collective effort, that would take out every Russian conventional force that we can see and identify on the battlefield in Ukraine, and also in Crimea, and every ship in the Black Sea fleet.
So it would bring America and NATO into the war. I mean, it would be an Article 5 situation, basically.
Not an Article 5 because they're not part of NATO, but it would be a U.S. and NATO response to something that is absolutely.
I mean, the arguments made the radiation.
General, sounds a lot like World War III to me.
Well, my old boss has all of it laid out except for one small step. We would have to start with Congress. It's a high time that the Congress got involved in whatever we're going to do militarily around the world. And our militarized foreign policy is it's not really leading to much for us so far. Diplomacy and the ability to halt this in its tracks with our ambassadors hasn't even been tried yet that I can see. But we're at a very dangerous place today because Vladimir Putin is going to sign those laws, and then he's going to look at stop the special military operation and start an anti-terror campaign where Ukraine, the government of Ukraine, is the terrorist, and we will see how high they ratchet that up.
Gordon, can you talk about the dynamic now between Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping in China, the leader of China? He's on the precipice of being elected, or whatever they call it over there, to an unprecedented third term in China. Is that dynamic as close as it once was?
I think it's extremely close. There are a lot of people in Washington and New York who say, oh, you know, the Chinese are trying to distance themselves from the Russians. I don't think that's true. You know, we have seen the rhetorical support over the last 4 weeks for Russia. We've seen the elevated commodity purchases and everything else. I just don't see evidence that the Chinese are distancing themselves. Yes, they might be a little bit embarrassed by Russia's poor performance in the war, but nonetheless, they believe that they need to support their Russian friends. It's a no-limits partnership, as they said on February 4th, and they're not kidding.
Okay. General Blaine Holt, Gordon Chang, great to have you on. Appreciate the analysis and the breakdown. Always helpful. Thank you.
Great to be with you.
Thank you.
No crooked establishment. None of that twisting the truth. No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.